to the Bloom Room.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
This is our very first episode from the brand new Bloom. We're so excited to be here with all of you guys tonight. Yeah, raising the roof.
Yay.
Our respective roofs.
So I'm your host, Heather Webb, and normally Amy Rickert is with us, but she is her children are on spring break, so they are doing a little mini family vacation in the COVID style. And I'm holding down the fort tonight, and it's actually a great night to do that because it is the last Tuesday of Women's History Month, and I have three wonderful historical authors here with me who all love digging into the past and seeing how women have evolved and how we have kicked a little, excuse my French, ass, and how we're making waves and inspiring people and changing lives, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, among other things. So let me introduce our guests. We have to my. I don't need to do that, do I? We have.
You're not gonna Vanna?
No, I think that's probably a bad idea. So
All right.
we have Greer Macallister, who is the author of 4 historical novels, her latest being The Arctic Fury, which is terrific and exciting. I listened to it in audio. I loved it. I've actually read all of these authors' books, so that's really cool. And Greer also has a brand new trilogy, is it?
So far.
It's The Five Queendoms, and it's sort of a feminist Game of Thrones, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
So fantasy novels, and that will be under Greer Macallister, and that's out next year, the first book?
Starting in 2022. Yeah.
Starting in 2022.
Cool.
She's still a historical novelist as well, but she has ventured into the fantasy realm, which is exciting. And then we have Elise Hooper, who is the novelist of 3 books, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. And her latest, Fast Girls, I absolutely loved. It's set during the 1936 Olympics, and it's the female track stars that go, American track stars, and it's terrific. It's wonderful. If you haven't read it, check it out.
Thanks, Heather.
Yeah, and then Kris Waldherr happens to be not just an author, but my beloved critique partner. So we do writing sprints in the morning.
We do.
Together. Yes. And Kris writes Gothic novels set in the past. Her debut is called The Lost History of Dreams. It's fantastic. Obviously, I'm going to say that, but seriously, it's a really great book. I love Gothics. And she is now quickly becoming top of the list, my favorite author. Ha ha ha. And, but I have to say too that Kris has been in publishing for a really long time. She is a former children's illustrator. Her art has been shown in many museums, including the National Women's Museum.
National Museum of Women in the Arts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a woman of many talents. She is quite well known for her tarot goddess
Tarot. Yes.
Goddess Tarot.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There
Yes.
it is. Yeah. That
So
came out of a book I did called The Book of Goddesses, because I write about women's history, so how appropriate, and women's mythology.
Yes. So she's done a lot of books there in various categories, nonfiction and so on, in children's books. So, it's really great to have you guys.
It's great to be here.
Hey,
Sure.
so
Thanks for having us.
I have to give a shout out to last week's winner of A Million Reasons Why by Jessica Strasser. And that goes to Trisha Pinsky, and help me out. Is it Quinius or is it Quienes? I'm not sure. I'm sorry I'm butchering it, but I will tag you and make sure that we talk so you can get your book. Poppy news this week. We don't have a ton except for here we are on a brand new page, and that was a lot as it is. We have so many wonderful authors who have donated time and books so that you guys can stock up on your to-be reads and win a lot of great prizes. And the only other thing we have for news is that next week there will be housewarming giveaways. So welcoming everyone to the brand new house. We're going to have things that bookish people love that we're giving away, from bath goodies to tea and chocolates, and we have a big grand prize too. So make sure you're coming back and sticking around with us. So first things first, what are we reading, ladies? I always love to see what everybody's getting into, and it always amazes me, the sort of the wide variety of the books that we find. Elise, what are you reading?
I just finished The Henna Artist. Is that what that one? Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love that one. I just loved being transported. And at the moment, like all of us, I'm kind of like, where can I travel to at least over books? That's why, Heather, I enjoyed the arc of your forthcoming book so much. I am all about like going to different locations. And I really enjoyed that one and highly recommend it to readers.
Thank you. Greer, what are you reading?
I've always got a few things going, but I always have an audiobook going. So, not so much commuting these days, but if I get out of the house and get to walk, I always have somebody whispering in my ear. So lately I've been listening to romances. So I am just finishing Talia Hibbert's latest book. It's the third in the Brown Sisters series. Act Your Age, Eve Brown. So good. Very steamy. If you like your steamy.
I like steamy. Didn't she just hit a list too? I think
so. Yeah.
It's doing really well.
Yeah. It's so cool to see people build and get, the recognition that I think they deserve. And so, so I'm just finishing that. Really, really excellent. Enjoyed it a lot.
Great. What about you, Kris? What are you reading?
I'm actually reading a lot of different things too, and nonfiction as well as fiction. And I just finished tearing through Kate Quinn's new The Rose Code, which the ending was so satisfying. She is just, the way she brought all those threads together, it was really astonishing. But I'm also reading romance too. I find that with the pandemic, I'm in New York City and we've been in lockdown for a while. I need things that are very soothing. So I've been rereading a lot of historical fiction. Like I did a reread of Loretta Chase's Lord of Scoundrels, which is really fun, hilarious. And also some Courtney Milan, like The Governor's Affair, which is really wonderful. It's like very inspiring. It's just, I'm always amazed at how so many threads, so much history, and such great characters. It's just really fun. So that's what I've been doing lately.
Nice.
Yeah, I think, Bridgerton took off.
Yeah.
Obviously. And I think a lot of people are finding escape in historicals, fantasy, and romance. And when you're really unsure of what's happening out in the world and scared, I think that makes
true.
A great escape. Yeah. I'm like Greer in that I tend to work on an audiobook or listen to an audiobook and read a couple in print. I just finished Beach Read, which I talked about last week.
Oh, I enjoyed that one a lot too.
Lord
is very sweet.
So
it was very sweet.
And great hot couple of scenes.
Yeah.
And plus it had the whole like writing the book theme.
Yes.
The promise of the premise and all of that.
Yes.
Like,
what does my publisher want? And
right.
I think it resonated with our
I think a lot of authors really enjoyed that one.
Yeah.
You know what one is also really good is Love Lettering, I think it's called, about the woman who's the calligrapher. I can't, her name is escaping me, but she has a new one out. It is inspired by Romeo. Yes.
Claiborne?
Kate Claiborne. Kate Claiborne, I think. Really, really enjoyable. But she has a new one out called Love at First something or other.
Love It First.
That's it. Just Love It First. I was right. I didn't forget it.
We got the whole thing.
Romances are just very comforting right now.
They are. I mean, I've always loved romance. I've read it since I was a kid. I'd have giant stacks of Harlequin, the historical romance. But they've kind of made a huge comeback for me too. But this is not a romance, and I'm like, which direction do I need to go?
Oh, wow.
Came in the mail today, and it says death, so it's not romance. But I love Lori Rader Day. I don't know if you guys have read her stuff. So first of all, we were debuts together, and we wrote together on a blog called The Debutante Ball.
Okay.
And there were 5 of us, and we got along so great, love each other still. And Lori is kicking butt. I mean, she's been Edgar nominated. She's won the Mary Higgins Clark Award. Wow. She's won, there's another one too, the Anthony Award. And I've read all of her books. I begged her for this arc. It's her first historical mystery, and
Oh, wow.
it has a little bit of a literary bent to it, so they make for great, book club books. And it's all about these nurses that go to Greenway, which was Agatha Christie's summer home. And the children from World War II have been taken here to be protected, when they evacuated the children.
Right.
But meanwhile, there's a body that washes up on shore. They're very near the coast. And so, and it's not a soldier. So these nurses are sort of in this place that turns out to be quite creepy. And they're trying to figure out what's going on. And I'm so excited to dig into that. Literally came today and I was like, yes, I'm going to show that.
It's a really great cover too. It's very striking.
Yeah.
How long do we have to wait for that?
Gothic feel to it, I think. What's that?
How long do we have to wait for that? Like, I want it.
So that's in October. That's in October.
Oh,
yeah. I mean, I was like, Lori, please, can I?
Well, yeah, arcs are usually about 6 months ahead, so it's prime time.
But
We're
I
always
will be
living in
giving it
the
away
future.
once I'm done reading it. I will be giving it away in my newsletter. So anybody who's watching.
Be nice to Heather.
That's right. All right.
Yeah.
So speaking of books, I want to hear about yours. So, Greer, let's talk a little bit about the Arctic Fury, your latest.
I was going to hold it up, but now it feels redundant.
No, okay.
Yes. So my latest book is The Arctic Fury. It's set in the 1850s. Like all my books, it has strong female characters and takes place in America between 1850 and 1905. That just seems to be sort of the area that I've landed in. But it is alternating timelines between a secret all-female expedition to the Arctic. And then a year later, when not all of the women from that expedition come back, and one of them is on trial for the death of one of the others. So that is loosely inspired by the real life Franklin expedition and Lady Jane Franklin, who sent a bunch of different expeditions to look for her husband or her husband's remains. And I got to just sort of assemble this all-female supergroup of cool people from the 1850s. So that was how that one came together.
So we want to know what's a funny little tale or the dirt or a little anecdote behind the scenes that we don't post in all those interviews. Give us the goods.
There's like light cannibalism and
It's
sort of like light cannibalism.
So there we go. So my last book, Woman 99, was set in an insane asylum, and you have people who say, "Oh, an insane asylum, I'm not sure I want to read that," and then people are like, "Oh yeah, insane asylum." And so for the Arctic Fury, you've also got people who are like, "Ooh, cannibalism, I don't know about that," and then you've got other people who are like, "I read cannibalism like message boards." So you're trying to serve these different audiences, and I read my Goodreads reviews because I'm a bad person. But there are people who have given me bad reviews.
Punishment, not a bad person.
Yeah. I'm just brave. Sit down with a glass of wine and amuse yourself with opinions. But it's not for us. It's not for authors. It is for readers. Readers go to Goodreads, find out reviews, bless your hearts, do your thing. But I have disappointed people because there is not enough cannibalism in the Arctic Fury. They were really going into it expecting more, and I disappointed them. So that's on me.
You did not disappoint. I read that book. It's tremendous. It's so good.
There's a lot going on, seriously.
So we heard you have something orange in your glass.
I do. So I put this on Twitter and Instagram yesterday and said, guess what this is? And I am very happy to report that absolutely no one had any idea what it was. People thought it might be brandy, or I thought people might guess sherry because it's in a wine glass, but it's got this orange color to it. It is actually orange wine. So I thought I would talk a little bit about the fact, we've heard of white wine, we know red wine, we know rosé all day, but there's also something called orange wine, and this is one that I picked up. Janie, that's right. So this, I went down to my local wine store and said, hey, you know, show me where your orange wine is, because it's something that I really enjoy, and had been to the north of Italy a couple of years ago, pre, you know, things, and got to go see where they make this sort of wine. So if you like white wine, but you want some of the like tannic, funky quality of red wine, it's really fun. So orange wine, sometimes it's called amber wine, sometimes it's called skin contact wine, and they just make it by leaving the skins and the stems in with the grapes longer. So you get this fabulous color. This is a particularly orange one. Like it looks like it might be some sort of light Gatorade, but it tastes mostly like a white wine with a little bit of more like tightness to it, and it doesn't taste like oranges at all, right? So it's not like an Arbor Mist like peach wine. It's like a wine of orange color, and it goes with everything. It goes with chicken, it goes with fish, it goes with cheese, it goes with itself.
How is it different from a rosé for those of us who like rosés?
It's generally less sweet.
Oh, that's good.
And so it definitely, yeah, it's not a sweet wine. So it's a little bit funky, and you get some that are like earthy, mushroomy, funky. So it totally depends on what you like. And it's hard. Like when I went to my local wine store and asked about it, I said, like, do you have a section? She's like, no, let me show you the 5 different places in the store where you can find what you're looking for. You'll usually find it from Eastern Europe. That's where like the sort of where it originated. But she showed me one from Oregon. She showed me one from, you know, France and Italy. Like it's just a type of thing that they can do with different grapes to, you know, by using the skins and the stems to draw out different qualities.
That's interesting. Yeah, it's new to me too. I see Michelle Marcus just says, that's new to me. It's new to me too.
Yeah, I've never heard of that either. And it's such a pretty color too. It's like yeah,
absolutely.
And there's a really fancy one that I like that's like expensive, but then there was also one when I asked my local wine store, they're like, here's a $9 one. I'm like, let's try that. So it's any kind of range. It's a bunch of different grapes. So you got to sort of find somebody who can help you navigate it. But I think it's totally worth trying.
Yeah, I'm all over it. I'm definitely going to get that next time I go, if I can find some.
Awesome. Ask about it.
So Elise, we would like to real trees. That's right. Oops.
I know. Yeah, this isn't a fake background. In fact, if we're lucky, a fairy might come by and you'll see one of the Washington State fairies. I'm up at this writing retreat right now on San Juan Island. This is the first time I've left, you know, like my house in about a year, and I'm here by myself for 11 days.
Wow.
I know. I applied for a week and they gave me 11 days, and I'm convinced my husband emailed them on the sly, begging them to take me longer. Or my kids, someone wants me out or something. Yeah, so this is real Washington trees. The other thing that is totally possible is deer come walking by and like peer in the windows. So you might see one of my cute little gals come wandering by at any moment. It's really fun.
Well, I hope we do. So
yeah, and there's a huge yacht out there sort of behind the trees that I want it to swing out so y'all see it. I had texted my husband like, hey, did you come get me early, and send him a picture of the boat, but he just laughed.
He's like, no.
Yeah, not my boat.
So Elise, tell us a little bit more about Fast Girls.
Yay. Okay. Well, I'm glad you have the book cover since I am up here. Yeah, I didn't bring the book. I was on it enough to sort of bring food and all that. I didn't think to bring Fast Girls. Fast Girls is about 3 women who all come together to race in the 1936 Olympics, which is Hitler's games. And so, you know, a lot of things happen at those Olympics. Those are really the beginning of the modern Olympics as we know them. And I just couldn't believe I knew so little about these Olympians. It is based on all these real Olympians. And so these women were phenomenal. And we know a lot about the boys in the boat, or, you know, Louise Amperini of Unbroken. This one is about the women. So I learned a ton. This was such a satisfying book to write.
And it was you had a fun launch party too, where she had several authors on, and we all did trivia, Olympic trivia, which I spectacularly failed.
No, I don't remember that.
Really fun. It was really fun.
It was a great group. That was so funny because they also, my publicist moved my launch, it was online, launch party like 3 days before it. And I emailed out, I think there were like everyone who blurbed the book, I had sent out in this email, like, will you guys do my launch? And everyone responded, yes, thank you, pandemic, everyone's home. And then like 3 days before, I'm like, hey guys, the date's changed. Is anyone available? Everyone's like, I'm still in.
We're still available.
That was just such a great turnout. Yeah, that was really fun. I learned, as I just said, I learned so much about writing that one. And I do see the question about a new book coming out in 21. And yes, I just turned it in, which is why I'm up here starting something totally different.
Yay.
Such a great feeling. So we're still kind of working on a title for the new one. And I haven't seen a cover yet, but I think it's slated for March of 21. So.
All right.
Yeah.
I have 22.
22. Thank you. So
yes. Okay. And I'm February, so we maybe need to get together.
Yeah, for sure. That would be great.
So I heard, Elise, that you have a hidden talent that you're going to share with us.
Well, I don't think, if you follow me on Instagram or something, I do occasionally post about this, but I've been knitting this sweater. And it's one I'm knitting all in one piece. So I get to kind of try it on periodically. I haven't done the sleeves yet. Those are the last thing to go. But you can kind of see.
Oh, yeah. It's like beautiful.
Wow. And actually, gorgeous.
Thank you. The back also has cabling down the center. So, and it has no buttons. So I don't have to deal with like buttonholes or eventually sewing on buttons or anything. So I'm very excited.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And I'm hoping by going public with it, maybe now I'll like finish it,
Do you make sweaters for gifts and stuff a lot, or?
I do more like hats and stuff like that, because a sweater will take, this will take me a while. I started this right after Christmas. So I do a lot of hats and scarves and stuff as presents.
Yeah.
Or sometimes baby sweaters. Things that'll go quickly work well for presents.
My mom,
I was just thinking it matches her wine, actually, because it's
That's right.
Orange. Yeah.
That's right.
She planned it. So, Kris, we would love to hear about the Lost History of Dreams.
Okay. The Lost History of Dreams is my debut novel, and it's a historical, but most of all, it's a gothic. It's really kind of a tribute in a way to Wuthering Heights and Jane Eyre, and more recently, Diane Setterfield's The 13th Tale, which I loved. And it's about a postmortem photographer, which I get, like what Greer was saying, either people are like, ooh, or I want more. It's really interesting. Who ends up getting involved with unearthing the story of a cousin who is a poet who has this kind of marriage in which not everything is as it seems as it should be. And as he unearths this lost history, literally, he's forced to confront his own situation with his wife, who, I don't want to spoil it, but there's a nice little gothic twist there, shall we say.
And she tackles the Bronte. I was rereading it, all of those over and over, and just trying to get in that frame of mind of when you're sort of like, you're going to sit down and be, all right, I'm going to tell you a story, and this is the story, and you're going to come along with me, and hopefully this will work. So yeah. So do you have a little anecdote behind the scenes you'd like to share?
Well, yeah, the famous story that I talk about, of course, is that I dreamt one of the first scenes in the book, and I knew that it was set in Victorian times because the woman was wearing crinolines, not a bustle. So I was like, oh, 1850, great, got it. That's how you know a historical novelist.
Nerd.
I know. You're like, I know that silhouette. And so I dreamt of a man and a woman, and they were arguing over an inheritance in this room, which was lit only by this fireplace. And I had no idea who these people were and what they were arguing about, except that it was some sort of inheritance. So basically, I wrote a book to figure out what was going on. But there's one other really strange thing, is that when I was first drafting it, I tend to do kind of like vomit drafts, as they call it, where you just spew out everything that comes to mind. And I named the house where the book takes place called Wheeled House. And then later, when I was researching where my book would actually take place, I found that there was a moor called Weald Moors. And I think the only difference was I spelt it with a T and it was with a D on the map. So I was like, okay. So I went there on a research trip to Shropshire, to the Weald Moors, and it looked exactly like I had described in my book. So that was pretty freaky. So yay, intuition, I guess.
Well, I think authors have a lot of that, or creatives. You're kind of open to the zeitgeist and the energy around us, and we just sort of try to take it in and see what comes our way, the muse, so to speak, right?
Oh, definitely. You learn to trust it after a while. And yeah. So I've seen these things happen so much that I shouldn't be surprised. So it's still delightful when it does happen, though. Because I've heard you've had stories like that. I've heard others have stories like that, too.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's like the muses are tapping you and saying, hello, are you home? Pick up the phone.
Yeah. So speaking of something tapping and saying, pick up the phone, Kris, we know you have this amazing talent. She does. So Kris does workshops for fiction writers using the tarot, to how to dig into your characters and how to unearth elements of your story. But beyond that, she has for years done tarot workshops just with people who are interested in getting a reading. And her deck is designed by hand. She did all of the illustrations. They're gorgeous.
Here it is. Whoops, you can't really see with the glare, but you get the sense. It's called the Goddess Tarot. Yeah.
Can you put it up closer to the,
maybe will that do it? It's I feel like it's like looking at a mirror, but anyway. I read tarot now for a long time, and I've read for I don't even know how many people it may be, definitely hundreds and hundreds and hundreds that I've read for you and stuff. And I have been giving workshops, and actually I'm going to be on back with Janie in a few weeks, and we'll be talking more about the tarot. But I thought I would offer the Bloom Room a quick tarot reading. Would you be interested, Heather?
Heck yes, we're interested.
Heck yeah.
Bring it on.
All right. Whoop, here we go. I have my cards.
So wait, you're doing it for the Bloom Room? Are you doing it for an individual? I'm
going to do just for the Bloom Room because it's a new room. Let's see if it has the cards have any advice for you in general. How does that sound? Do you have a particular question you want to ask? I'm going to shuffle here.
Are we all going to be millionaires?
No. One of the things I always tell people when I read for them, no yes or no questions.
Yeah.
And frivolous questions get frivolous answers. No pressure, Heather.
For the whole Bloom Room? Wow.
Well, how about just, let's see, for your new...
How about...
your new website setting? I don't know.
Shall we source this to the audience?
Sure.
What would you like a reading on? Would you like it to be for the Bloom Room, or would you like it to be...
or if somebody have a question?
Someone who has a really specific question. Or one of you guys, Elise, Greer.
Yeah.
Would you like a...
Should we ask about the title for your book?
Yes.
Well, Janie says...
Janie's.
Well, finishing a novel get any easier? That's a yes or no answer. I think we know the answer to that one already.
Survey says no.
You know what I have here?
Our works in progress hold.
I have the moon, which is associated with the goddess Diana, and the stack, which is about cycles. It's all about cycles. That sometimes it's easier, sometimes it's harder. But ultimately, it's about trusting your intuition and about your emotion and being open to things that we may not be able to see except reflected by the light of the moon. So there's our answer.
Very
Pretty
good.
Freaky, huh?
Yeah.
All right.
Love it. All right, ladies. Well, let me just make sure there's no other comment here about the tarot or anything else. All right. Looks like we're good. So everybody, thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for having us.
We'll have a giveaway next week with one of each of these books. So if you leave a comment, you're entered, and it'll be up until next week, and we'll announce then. And I just want to thank you all for coming, you three, Greer and Elise and Kris.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
It was really fun.
Seriously, I'm going to want to talk to you for like another 2 hours. So we're not going to bore everybody else with that. But anyway, let's get going. Sorry, you guys. I'm like looking for this thing. So Blooms, this is the first time I've run this without Amy, and she's the tech person and she does all these fun bells and whistles. And so I'm kind of stumbling around being like, I know what I'm doing. But I think so.
Yeah, you've got it.
You're doing great. So fancy.
All right. Good night, you guys.
Bye.
Thanks for coming.